Welcome back to Slightly Less Boring Build Friday. Today we're working on our 2015 Mustang GT parts car. We're going to get the drivetrain yanked out of it and start tearing it down so we have all of our parts for our 1965 rebuild project. Link's up there if you don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get started. So first we'll disconnect the battery. Move the ground wire off the tower. I'll take the tower brace off. Now we can disconnect the air intake. Pull the top of the air box off. Now we can unbolt the air box itself. We'll wiggle it out of there. For as big as this car is, there's not a lot of room under the hood. I'll disconnect the rest of the lines going to the air intake. Breather tubes. The air tube itself. Now we're going to have to heat up these bolts to get our exhaust flanges loose. I mean, it's a 5-year-old Ford. What'd you expect, no rust? There's plenty of it here. The 65 came apart with no problem. The 15, lots of problems. So for all you people in the South, this is what we go through on a daily basis with every car. The pound a socket on there. It used to be a 15mm, now it's kind of about a 14.5, so we'll just pound a 14 on there and make it work. Now we can unbolt the hangers for the mufflers all the way in the rear. Now we can disconnect our rear oxygen sensors. They're going to go with our X pipe and the catback exhaust. Well, will you look at that? Time flies. The afternoon crew is here already. Those kind of stuck on there. Had to hammer it loose a little bit. Kind of move it to each side and put a little tension on it. Hammer it out a little bit. Once we got it moving, give her the lighter side. I'll take the heavier side. Now we're going to disconnect the drive shaft. Pull the 6 bolts out of the rear. I got these air tools on this whole job because with all the rust in it, The electric tools wouldn't take things apart. Snap-on, Milwaukee, Harbor Freight, didn't matter, nothing worked. And then people wonder why I don't like them. So we'll take the front of the drive shaft out. Pry the rear of the drive shaft out of the yoke. Disconnect our center bearing. And slide it out of the front. Now we can unbolt the shifter from the bottom of the body. Make sure it's loose. Now we'll discharge our AC system. Now that's done, we can start taking everything else apart under the hood. Or where the hood used to be, I guess. Now we're going to pull the center console out. Need to get the shifter out of there so it'll drop down. Just a couple screws and then it pops up. One plug for the light and the cup holder. Those Ford guys always thinking of everything. Now we're going to unbolt this bracket. Should be quick, but it's not. Have to back the bolts out a little bit, then tighten them up. Keep going back and forth. Spray a little penetrating going on there as you go back and forth. Otherwise, every one of them would have broke. So what should have taken about 15 seconds took about 5 minutes. Now we'll unclip our oxygen sensor that was zip tied on there. And now we have to remove our aftermarket headers. The headers go up and over the frame rail, which keeps the motor from either going up or down to remove it. So the headers have to come out. We'll let the one with the little hands get to the hard to get to bolts. Now we're going to disconnect the steering shaft to get it out of the way to get this header out. So that gave us a little room, but not enough. So now we're going to have to lift up the engine. We just took the nut off the top of the mount. Getting more room over there? That extra 3/4 of an inch was about all we needed. Weasel it out of there. All right, disconnect the AC line on the passenger side. Still haven't decided if I'm taking the header out of this side yet or not, because I'm not sure if I'm taking the motor out the top or the bottom just yet. We've got our AC line disconnected. We're going to disconnect our wires. So now we're going to have to disconnect everything that's in the fuse box. Just some power wires. There's 3 of them. They feed the rack and pinion, the alternator, and the starter. Now we'll disconnect the rest of our wiring harness. It goes with the engine. Now I'll take the heater hoses off the cowl. Would have been nice if Ford would have made those ends about a ½ inch longer so I could get my hands in there. Thanks, guys. Now I'll disconnect the hydraulic line to the clutch. Pull a little tab out, and then the line comes out. Now we can disconnect all the lines to the radiator. Bypass hoses, upper and lower radiator hose. Use the European style clips on the upper radiator hose. That's kind of nice. Now we can disconnect the AC lines from the condenser. Lower line on the condenser. I'll let the afternoon crew lift out the cooling system. I know, it's not a tire, but... Now we can disconnect our rack and pinion, the wires to it. Take the wires across the front off, just so we can get those metal brackets off, the black ones, because they're going to be in the way. I decided to take the engine out the top because I want this car to be drivable, so I want to leave the subframe and all the suspension in it. I guess drivable isn't the word. Rollable. So we can push it around like you do with most Fords. So to drop the engine out the bottom and then unbolt it and then bolt the suspension back up would have taken longer than just working around it. And I could avoid taking the header off the passenger side. So now we're going to take the fuel line off. Squeeze the tabs. Bolt them at the same time. There you go. That's it. Now go away. When you pull it off, there's still pressure in there, so I'm trying not to get sprayed face. Especially if you're one of those people that don't wear safety glasses. Can't stand those people.
There's a trick, isn't there?
Gotta knock it loose.
Is it rusted?
Probably.
Is that why this is like this?
Of course it's rusted. So whenever you're going to knock the tire loose, always put a lug nut on a few threads, because when it does come loose, if it doesn't have one on there, you're going to be chasing that thing around the shop. Bouncing tires will do a lot of damage. I had a rubber mallet handy, so we'll just knock this one off with a rubber mallet. Come on, tire flipper. Now it's time to pull the engine out. Everything's disconnected. The jack's holding up the back of the trans. So we're just going to let it down so that the shifter will clear the floor. Lift up the motor. Keep it kind of tilted and then walk the jack out. It's a slow process, making sure we aren't going to damage anything. Moving it little by little. It's not meant to come out this way, but in the long run, it's a little quicker. So, the afternoon crew is getting a crash course in forklift operation. This will be our first time ever driving the forklift. We'll see how it goes. We pretty much cleared everything and go a little quicker now. Now we need to raise the back up. It's off the jack, so we have it come along on there so we can adjust it. So the afternoon crew did pretty good on our forklift driving experience. So you can throw that on a resume. Sure, there's a lot of doctors' offices looking for forklift operators. So we can throw our tires back on so we can roll it out of here.
How do I do this? Just push it in?
Pull the collar back.
That?
Oh.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm being made to lift the tires up. It's not my job. So I'm going to pull the wheel lock off the back wheel because I hate them. Now we can throw all our extra parts in the trunk. Everything we took off that we might end up needing for this swap. Better to hang on to it just in case. We did end up having to take the sway bar out just to give ourselves a little extra room on the engine and the oil pan. Our one header. This car had no cats in it, so sorry, Greta. Luckily, I can put that exhaust on a 65 because they don't require cats. Now we got to clean up our mess from our fun in the first video. Got a little bit of the tire wrapped around the suspension. The price you pay for fun.
Don't forget to like, subscribe if you want to see more of the Mustang build. Thanks for watching.